Hello and welcome. This is Reader Programming, and this is the very first video in a series that I wanted to start months ago. I think I first said that this would start in March, maybe February. Anyway, it took me a while to get this whole entire system set up, and then life got in between, so whatever, I'm starting now. Nervous, as you can probably tell, but anyway, let's get started. This is a pre-video. That kind of just means I just want to go into a few basic things, show you the system that I've set up, and I also want to describe what we're going to be doing a little bit, and definitely start installing the extension libraries and some stuff that we're definitely going to want. First thing I want to do is start my domain controller. There we go. I am not a Linux professional. I am not a Linux professional. Alright, so what we basically have here is our Ubuntu server, and the only thing that's on this server is the domain controller. The reason why I'm going for this is I wanted to very closely emulate what a final productive environment could look like, and although I don't believe too many corporations actually use Linux for their domain controllers, I couldn't really get my hands on a Windows server to really get into that. So plus it was good practice for me. So what we have here is Linux server, Ubuntu, running Samba. That's our domain controller. So let's move on. Blah blah blah. Here is our Domino server. Yay! Again, I am not a Domino administrator. I am sure that I have done a terrible job installing this thing, but it is good enough to do what we want to do, and that is go into some of the Java programming and so on. So let's go into our last computer, the client. Here I just have notes installed, nothing else. So, a couple things we want to get going today. First step, install the extension libraries. This is a good thing for people who like having their passwords different. We can turn this off. Let's turn it off now, as soon as I remember how. Services. IBM single sign-on. Properties. Dependency. Start type. Manual. Okay. Close. Exit. Let's verify. Alright, here we go. Let's just make sure I remember my password. Nope. There we go. Third time's the charm. Alright, there's a couple things that we want to get going. And this is in relation to setting up the extension libraries and everything, what I've done is I have created a list of potential users. These are all test users. The only person here who's actually active is me and the administrator. I currently have no groups, and my server document hasn't been filled out at all. Since in this first part all I want to do is get the extension libraries installed, let's create one group. It would appear I have not done this properly. So anyway, as I said, we're going to add a group. And the group name is going to be XPage admins. We're going to add a few people to this group, which I have already defined on my list here. XPage's directory. Obviously, the administrator. And probably in a real world environment, I'd have XPage admin. You know what? We can do that here. Screw that. Administrators. Category, just so that I know. Again, I'm not an administrator in real life. This is just me knowing a few tricks. I want to be in that group. Alright, that can be it for now. Save and close. And now we want to add another group. And this is the group that we really want to make sure is correct. XPage admins. Members are obviously going to be the administrators. Additionally, I want to add this user. I want to add this user. And that's enough. Save and close. Now we have two main groups here. We have administrators and we have XPage admins. There's going to be I'm planning on having two other groups in here, but that's I'll go over that once I start discussing the project that we're going to be doing. So we have two groups. Let's go into our server documents here. And there's a couple things that we want to make sure of. First of all, let's go into security. I'm sure that I'm forgetting stuff. Full access is administrators. Database administrators. Full remote console. Let's also put in our administrators group. Again, if anybody sees this and sees that I'm doing something wrong or I'm forgetting something, please do tell me. Although I'm not really an administrator, I do obviously have an interest on this type of stuff, and I'm willing to learn. So with the extension libraries, there's a couple things on this side that we want to make sure of. Assign or run unrestricted methods and operations. We're going to add, now I kind of want to add both of these groups. even though XPage admins contains all of the administrators, I still want to have both. I don't know why, it just kind of makes me feel better. The main one is this: sign agents or XPages to run on behalf of the invoker. It's important that that's then XPage admins. So add, okay, Java agents. We can just leave that blank, I guess. I don't think we really need to go into that too much. Might as well put you in though. Let's see. I'll just leave the rest of that blank. I've seen issues where we couldn't run the extension libraries when they were signed by someone who wasn't listed here. So that's why it's very important to put that in. As I said, I'm sure that I'm forgetting something, but just for the sake of it, let's close that up. Just so that I do not have the same problem as before, let me just fix this. I want to add my administrators. My administrators are a person group with manager rights. I'm sure there's a lot of really cool roles I could give them, but server creator, user modifier. I'm not going to use policies. Group creator, group modifier. I think that's good enough. I'm sure I could give them all of them, but whatever. This is the domain controller. Alright, here we are, back at the client. Applications workspace. Okay, so here we are, my personal space. Sounds good. Now we have two things here. We have the extension library, and we have the openNTF Domino API. We're going to install both of these, and we're going to install them in the exact same way. The extension libraries are probably what are generally needed, but alright. Extract all. That takes a few moments. Extract all. It's also done pretty quickly. Alright. We have our two main things. Now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to create some update sites. So I generally like to have my own little workspace for this type of stuff, but we can just have it all on here, I guess. So we're going to say new application. We want this to be on our server. ExtLib update site. Okay. We're going to have this in the root for right now. There's nothing there's no problem with having it in some sort of folder, but I prefer having my update sites in the root. It just makes it easier for me. Whatever you want. We're looking now under templates and under advanced templates. We're looking for the Eclipse update site. Okay. While we're at it, let's create 2 more. I guess I could just make copies of this, but So application new, it's going to be there. Our title is going to be then ODA update site. I have one T too many. There we go. ODA is my pet name for the openNTF Domino API. In case if anybody asks, it's just a mouthful to say openNTF Domino API all of the time, so ODA works for me. So again, server, title, Eclipse update site, show advanced templates. Okay. And there's one more we're going to want. Application new, server, blah, title, ExtLib designer, update site. When in doubt, you should always be able to find the template on the server. I believe that it's also available here on the Notes 9 client, but when all else fails, it's here on the server. So, okay. Alright, so now we have 3 separate update sites. We have the 2 that we're going to need for the extension libraries. We have the one that we're going to need for the for ODA, and theoretically there shouldn't be anything wrong with putting all of these into one particular update site. I just find this to be cleaner, and I can take out one piece easily without having to worry about screwing things up. So that's why I like to do it this way. You can do what you'd like. I prefer separate ones. So let's now install the update site for the server. A couple of things we didn't do. I need to go in here and look at my update site. Extract all. Lots of fun stuff. This is the file that we're going to want to find in a moment, so you could either take note of this URL or just browse later. This is the one that we're going to need for designer. Again, we're going to want to point to this document here. And these are some really good examples of the extension library tools for later, if you're into that sort of a thing. If you want to try to take a look at the source code in Eclipse, you can extract these files and import them. That setup takes a little bit longer if you actually want to do anything with it besides just look at the source code. Still, it's pretty interesting. That's something for somebody else or me in probably a few months when I feel secure enough to do so. Anyway, let's close that, and let's go into here. And we're going to want to extract this update site as well. And again, right there's the site that we're going to want. Alright. Not a problem. So let's first install what we're going to need for the actual website, or for the actual server. It's pretty simple. Whoops. We just go into import local update site. We hit browse. Was on the desktop. This is the one for the server. Point to the site, hit open, OK, and then it's just going to import everything in that update site. Not too difficult. What we want to make sure now is that we're signed in with an ID that is located in this sign XPages blah 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 entry that we just set up on the server document. Then we just want to go up to Actions, Sign All Content. We're going to be signing it with my ID. I'm in the XPage admin group, so this should be completely fine. Alright, this is all signed, and now what we want to do is say just going to want to copy that. Now we're going to go into our server and we're going to open up the ini file. Alright, so after forgetting what this variable is and a quick Google search later, we finally come back and we type in OSGI HTTP dynamic bundles. No problem. Save that. Minimize it for a quick find later, and now hit restart task HTTP, and off it goes. A couple of things we're looking for. Basically, we're looking for this line that says that it's being installed on the OSGI runtime, and the other lines that we're looking for are not present. Wonderful. com.m.xsp something or other. No, actually it looks pretty good. Alright, it looks good. Maybe it's because it's a new version or whatever, but I remember seeing more code here when it's loading. Alright, I have no idea what that means. I'll just let it go. Okay, we're back on our client. So now we want to do the next step. So we go in here, we got to look at this. We're going to say, just for us, default is reader, anonymous, can also be reader. To be on the safe side, if the company is small enough, I'd probably also have a group with just simply everybody in it, but it doesn't matter. Let's look in here. That should also be the same. Yes, it is. Let's go in here, and now we're going to say, again, import local update site. Only this time, and we're going to want the designer update site. Open. Okay. Just takes a few minutes. And voila. Everything is there. And again, I am signing this with an ID that's listed on the server document. Not too difficult. Everything's there. It's all good. So, next step, we're going to want to install this on the client. Not difficult. Let's just go into my widgets. Then we're going to say configure widget from an update site. And then we type in HTTP. Alright, a quick edit later, and we're back. So we're going to configure the widget from an update site. And we're going to type in the address. It's important that you type in the HTTP here, otherwise it's just going to yell at you and say, I don't know where this is. Demo / ExtLibs update site.scf. Yep. Load. Again, this is just the protocol, the server name, and then the path to the update site. And make sure it's the one for designer. If anybody who knows anybody from the from IBM, I would really like to have a select all button here somewhere, but oh whatever, I can live without it. I have tested in the company that I work for, HolisticNet, we have tested that it's possible to install this widget via a policy, which makes deployment so much easier. But for right now, for us, this works. I always give my my widgets a name that I know what they are. Extension library, next, and finish. Now, it's going to do a couple of things. First of all, we're going to see that it's there. We can type here, and we're going to say that it's provisioning the widget. This normally takes a while, and we're going to be asked like 8-9 times if we actually want to install the plugin. Just hit yes every time, and don't forget to hit yes. The extension libraries are now installed, and we can restart the client. Takes but a moment. Alright, that's that. Now let's get OTAs set up. I'm sure that there's going to be some people who love that name. I'm going to say import local update site, browse, go up a few levels because we want this site open. Okay. Again, assign all content, same ID that's listed in the server document. That's done. For the sake of ease, let's just copy that, go into our server, and copy this in. And it's in. We can then go back into our console and we can restart the HTTP task if I spell task correctly. It's being installed in the OSGI runtime. Really used to seeing more messages than just this. That feels weird to me. But we'll know sooner or later whether or not they're correctly installed. Tell http osgi ss org.ntf.domino says the framework is launched. Would help if I actually wrote openNTF. There it is. Cool. Now there's only one place left to install this, and that's here. And that follows the exact same procedure as last time. We configure widget from an update site. We type in our information, so demo.xpages.com. Just so that this is stated, xpages.com, I've noticed that there actually is a real xpages.com. XPages.com here is just the name I've given to my fake company on my, my local domain here. This isn't really the xpages.com that you can find on the web. Just so that that's stated. Okay, next. You can leave it at this. I'm just going to take away the rest of this because I want it to be short and sweet. So next, again, you can just click finish. You don't need to continue on with next and next and next. Install it. And again, we have to restart the client. Hit yes. Guess I just typed too quickly. And there we have it. That should all be installed now. We can verify that everything is on Designer by actually opening up Designer. and just create a new application. Title, we'll call this XPage test. I'm going to delete this right away, so if it's in the root, I really don't care for the moment. We're just going to type in new XPage, call it index. It will open, and here we see a whole bunch of cool things from the extension library, so we know that it's installed. Alright, well, at any rate, I can't find at the current moment the application management setting. You can still go here, say plugin details, and there you'll also see what plugins are installed. Pretty cool. Another cool thing is you can go into here under page generation, and then you're also going to see a couple of things. This relational library that's new, that must be with the newest extension libraries. And we can also see the openNTF Domino API. This is all stuff that we're going to need at a later point in time. So, I guess I will call that an episode, probably pushing an hour by now, and next episode we'll actually get into real programming, talk about the project that we're going to be doing, and really starting to get into the heart and soul of what this tutorial is all about. So, I thank you for watching, I thank you for your comments. Please, since this is going to be on YouTube, please hit subscribe, and please do enjoy. Pass this along to all your friends, and let's learn a thing or two. Talk to you later. Bye.